We gather to search for truths, to let our ideas bounce off each other and see how our creativity ricochets towards new ways of understanding the world. We gather to see with new lenses, to let the light reflect new prisms of perspectives we might never imagine. We gather to soar above, gliding on the clouds of others' possibilities, looking in with a bird's eye view of what is important and real. We gather with the newness of babies, seeing each object, each person as information, as beauty, as uncertainty, meaning making in the allness of what is seen new. We gather with the freedom of artists, molding the givens with our hands, brushing the color of our coming together, building meaning in our creativity. This is how we change and transform, how the world bends and the hard truths meld. This, right here, is the exciting spark where myriad possibilities become a loving resistance.
Wow, look at this crowd out here. This is great. Well, welcome and thank you for being here. All those of you here and on Zoom. I'm Dave Bianchi and I'm going to serve as your worship associate today. It's our mission here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada to grow together in love, faith, justice, and joy. Now, if you're new to us, know that we are a welcoming community and that we care deeply about all people, regardless of racial identity, age, economic circumstances, immigration status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. If you have any joys or concerns today that you would like to share with the congregation, please fill out one of these white forms found in the pockets and the chairs or in the back of the sanctuary and hand them to either myself or Reverend Kristen. And as always, we acknowledge that we sit on the ancestral land of the Shoshone, Washoe, and Paiute peoples, who were the stewards of these beautiful lands. Well, today's service is an invitation to get to know the various things that we do on campus, and there's many. There are so many ways we live out our mission at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. of Northern Nevada. And it's also an opportunity to reflect together as we practice covenanting through collapse on who and how we want to show up in the times we are currently living in. We hope you come away with a better sense and deep gratitude for all the ways we serve, and also get to ask some deep questions about what might need to shift for us to respond to the reality of today's world. Now, during the service, there'll be many opportunities for engaging with each other, and then we hope you'll stay after the service when many of our teams and groups and committees will be at tables set up around the sanctuary and in the gathering space to share more information. So we'll mingle with each other later in the service. So for now, if you would rise as you're willing and able and join together as we sing hymn number 347, Gather the Spirit.
In your order of service today, hopefully you have received a list. Does everyone have one? A list of the incredible ways that we serve this community and live out our mission. This is front and back as comprehensive a list as we have been able to create so far of the committees and groups and teams and ministries of this congregation. And many of you have expressed to me that you don't have a good sense of all the things that we do here, all of the ways to be involved, or all of the offerings that we have. So today is an opportunity to learn more and also to get curious. So I want you to pull out that list. It's really long. This is, in essence, one of the tangible outpourings of our mission. And as you scan it, just take a look. As you scan it, the first thing I want you to do is just let your heart open with all kinds of gratitude for the immense generosity of our people. Like, can we just get a loud collective thank you? So we're going to interact with this list a little bit today. The first thing I want you to do is grab a pencil from the back of the chair in front of you, or ask a neighbor for a writing utensil. And the first thing I want you to do is circle a few of these groups that you don't know anything about and that you would like to learn more. So maybe it's just because they don't have any descriptions on them, and so you have no idea what they actually are. Just circle some of the ones that you have some curiosity about. And remember, it's front and back. And then as you're doing that, I want you to get a little bit more curious. And I want you to just write down some of the questions that you have, just in the margins, nothing formal. Just any kind of notes of curiosity that you have as you look at this list or as you look at these different groups. What comes to your mind as you look at all of the groups on this list? And just write down some of your questions or curiosities in the margins. And then I'm going to ask our greeters for help with this next piece, if they are back there with baskets of markers. You are going to find in your order of service a blank thing that looks like a sheet of paper, but it's actually a sticker. It's a label. And what I'm going to ask you to do on this one is to write down the names of 3 groups, and we have markers that are going to get passed around that you can share. 3 groups that you actually know something about and would feel comfortable speaking to, like sharing the information about that group with others. So markers are getting passed around. You might write them kind of big so people can read them. Now, there are those of you who are here today who are brand new to this congregation, and I just want you to write newcomer, because the beauty of a newcomer is that you have all kinds of information about this congregation already just upon arriving here for the very first time. So you can write newcomer on this sheet, and people will ask you about your experience of being a newcomer probably. And if you are online, feel free to start writing those things that you know something about in the chat, and we'll tell you what you're going to do with that in a minute. So once you have your 3, will you write them on here? And then these are pretty annoying, but I promise that you can unstick them. And I want you to stick it somewhere on you, like on your shirt or on your arm, something like that, so that people are going to be able to ask you about them. Okay, everyone have a marker or a writing utensil. Everyone have a sticky piece of paper that is actually a sticker. 3 things that people could ask you about. 3-ish, or 1 if you're a newcomer. I'll tell you. All right. Does everybody have their stuff on here? Can you stick it to your body somewhere or wherever you feel comfortable? And then what we're going to do in just a minute is we're going to get up In just a minute, we're going to mingle. All right, friends. You have in your possession a list of all the groups and ministries and committees of the congregation, the ones you'd like to learn more about. And you have some maybe questions and curiosities written in the margins. And then you have a sheet that has some things that you might be able to speak to, and you're sticking it somewhere where people would be able to read it. And we're just going to take 5-ish minutes because we'll have time after the service. We're going to take 5-ish minutes to mingle around the room and ask some of your curiosity questions and find some people who might be able to speak to some of the questions that you have about this congregation. And we will bring you back together in song. And I hope that when you start hearing the song, you'll actually come and sit back down again. No promises. Does everyone understand what we're doing and have the tools you need to mingle? Take this opportunity to get to know some of the work that we do, some of the ways that we live out our mission. Go. Okay. Flyer written on their thing. So yeah, thank you for doing that. That's awesome. So stole your paper, Sarah. I hope you learned a few things. I hope you got a little sense of what we do in this community.
Sorry, it's just a little loud. They needed it.
I hope that was helpful and that you'll stay after the service for more of that. I want to share a video with you. I want to share a video with you. This is a video of a well-known research study from about 25 years ago. But it made the rounds again about 15 years ago, and it's likely that you might be familiar with it. So we're going to watch this video, and then I will talk to you more about it.
I'm Dan Simons. I'm a professor in the psychology department at the University of Illinois, and I also have an appointment at the Beckman Institute for Advanced Science and Technology. My research here focuses on visual cognition, what we see, what we don't see, how much of our visual world we're aware of, how much we remember from one moment to the next. I'm Dan Simons. I'm a professor in the psychology department at the University of Illinois, and I also have an appointment at the Beckman Institute for Advanced Science and Technology. My research here focuses on visual cognition, what we see, what we don't see, how much of our visual world we're aware of, how much we remember.
Yeah.
If you didn't get to talk to our tech team today, after the service, you should talk to them because they do a great job. Do you think we're going to get this video? Okay, where's Alan? We're gonna narrate it.
From one moment to the next.
So we're gonna play the video, we're gonna narrate it. Come on up here.
This way I can see it. If I stand there, I can't.
Just,
Da, 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 da,
I'm Dan
da,
Simons.
da,
I'm a
da.
professor in
I
the
am
psychology
Dan
department at the
Simons. I
University of
am a
Illinois,
professor
and
at
I
the
also have an
psychology
appointment at the
department of
Beckman Institute
someplace.
for Advanced
And
Science
I
and
have an
Technology.
appointment at the Beckman
My
Institute
research
for
here
Advanced
focuses
something.
on visual
My research
cognition,
here
what we
focuses
see,
on
what we
visual
don't see, how
cognition,
much of
what
our
we
visual
see, what
world
we
we're
don't
aware of,
see,
how
how
much we
much of
remember
our
from one moment to
visual
the next.
information is blah.
But one of
And
my
we are
best
much
known
remembered
studies
studies was done with my collaborator Chris Chabris some
and it was
years
based on
ago.
some much earlier work by our
And it
colleague
was
Dick
based on
Neisser.
some much
And
earlier
what we
work by
had
our
was a video
colleague
in
Dick
which
Neisser.
people were passing
And what we
basketballs.
have is a video
So
in
three
which
people
people
were
were
wearing white
passing
shirts and they were passing the
backwards
ball.
something.
And your
So
task
three
when you were watching
people,
the video
when you
was
were
just to
watching
count
the
how many
video, was just
times
to count
those
how
three
many
players passed
times.
the ball. We also had three players wearing black shirts passing their own ball,
Okay.
and you were supposed to
No,
ignore
no.
their passes. So as you're doing this task, after about 30 seconds, say,
All right, y'all, buckle up.
I'm Dan Simons. I'm a professor in the psychology department at the University of Illinois, and I also have an appointment at the Beckman Institute for Advanced Science and Technology. My research here focuses on visual cognition, what we see, what we don't see, how much of our visual world we're aware of, how much we remember from one moment to the next. One of my best known studies was done with my collaborator Chris Chabris some years ago, and it was based on some much earlier work by our colleague Dick Neisser. And what we had was a video in which people were passing basketballs. So three people were wearing white shirts and they were passing a ball, and your task when you were watching the video was just to count how many times those three players passed the ball. We also had three players wearing black shirts passing their own ball, and you were supposed to ignore their passes. So as you're doing this task, after about 30 seconds, say, we'd have a person wearing a full-body gorilla suit walk into the middle of the scene, stop in the center, turn and face the camera, thump its chest, and then walk off the other side a total of about 9 seconds later. And what we find is that about half the people who do this simply don't notice the gorilla.
When Dan asked me to be a part of this experiment, I thought, no way, people are totally going to see me. I'm a 400-pound gorilla.
We'll ask them afterwards, how many passes did you count, which they generally get pretty close to right. We then ask them, did you notice anything unusual? Did you notice anything other than the players? Did you notice anything walk through the scene? And they'll say no. So we ask them, did you notice a gorilla? And the response is typically, a what?
So then the Simons guy says, you know, we can show you and not everyone's going to see you? Yeah, right. How can people not see me? I'm huge. I'm ferocious. I'm a 400-pound gorilla. What was he thinking?
And we rewind the tape and show it to them again, and the reaction is typically, I missed that? It's shocking that you could possibly miss something as obvious as a gorilla. Of course, the people who noticed the gorilla are shocked that anybody could possibly have missed it, because it's right there in front of you.
I walk in there. I walk in the middle. All these kids are running around throwing this ball around. I stand there. I thump my chest. Not once, not twice, 3 times I thump my chest. That's scary, man. What else are people going to look at? You know, I'm big, I'm a gorilla, and they don't see me. What's up with that?
This is the intuition we have, that if something important or distinctive or unusual, like a person in a gorilla suit, walks into our field of view, we'll automatically notice it. The reality is that only about half the people do. About 90% think they will.
People are just so focused on counting those passes that they don't notice me. You know, I'm not trying to be subtle here.
Even more remarkable, my colleague Daniel Memmert used the gorilla video in a study in which he had people wearing an eye tracker. And what that does is tells you exactly where they're looking as they're watching this video and counting the passes by the team wearing white. And what he found was that the people who missed the gorilla looked at it for up to a second. So they looked right at it, but still didn't see it. Looking isn't the same as seeing. We have to focus attention on something in order to become aware of it.
How do you think it makes me feel? You know, I'm trying to be intimidating.
You can see why we needed to see the video. Although I would have loved to see you act out a gorilla. We have to focus attention on something in order to become aware of it. We have to focus attention on something in order to become aware of it. The thing I really love about this video, not only does it explain the study, but they've actually embedded extra gorillas throughout the description of the video. Did you see those? Who saw the videos, or saw the gorillas that were there in the beginning? Not the one speaking. There were embedded gorillas 4 times at least. I didn't see them when I first watched the video. until I read the comments, and people were commenting on the videos, and I had to go on the gorillas, and I had to go back and find them for myself. They're in plain view. Later on, you can check it out. So you didn't notice the gorillas either. There are gorillas, I'd like to say, there are gorillas lurking everywhere in our lives. Things that we just miss when we're moving through our days as we expect them to be or as we've always known them to be. And I've been having conversations with so many of you over the last months and have asked you questions, and together we've been noticing some of those gorillas. We've just been lifting up some of the gorillas that we might not have seen if we hadn't been asking some questions. And in the noticing, we're not necessarily judging whether it's good or bad that the gorillas are there, but just noticing them and letting the noticing shift our perspectives just a little bit. And that feels important to me because this year we are focused on unearthing how our mission responds to the times that we're living in. Because the times feel like they can call us to be very thoughtful about how we spend our days, possibly loosening the things that we've taken for granted to make space for the reality of the world that we're actually living in today. And so we're going to practice today noticing the things that we might not notice. And we're talking about the things that we do in the congregation, right? This list of all the things that we do in the congregation. So I want to take a quick unscientific poll. If you volunteer in this community, in small ways and large ways, I want you to think in your head about roughly how many hours on average per month do you think that you give? Just count it up in your head. How many hours per month do you spend volunteering in this community? And then on the count of 3, I'm going to have you hold up your fingers. If it's more than 10, you can just give jazz hands or something. So on the count of 3, you're just going to hold up how many fingers for how many hours you spend per month giving to this community. 1, 2, 3. That was amazing. That's a lot of hours. All right. I was amazed to pull together this list of the ministries and teams and groups. Depending on how you count it, there's roughly 53 groups. Roughly, give or take. So I'm going to do some very rough math here. Bear with me. Let's say that each of these groups meets once per month for an hour, or volunteers for an hour per month. And let's say that each group has on average 3 members. Some obviously have lots more. Let's say that they meet for 1 hour, even though, of course, lots of us know that we meet longer than 1 hour per month, let's say 90 minutes or more. We're just playing with the numbers here, okay? We're just going to play with them. So 53 groups, each have 3 members, and meet once per month for an hour. That's 159 volunteer hours per month. I mean, woo! That doesn't take into account the maybe 90 of you, let's say, who attend a service on a Sunday. An average of 90 people 4 times per month for an hour service, okay, we're doing rough math, is another 360 hours. We give a lot of time to this community. Those are rough numbers, right? But we give a lot of time to this community. So now I'm going to ask you to play with me here some more, because we are unpacking the idea of collapse. And we've named the many ways that we see collapse from our health systems. I don't know how many of you have seen the new federal guidelines that put red meat at the top of the food pyramid. and that lessen the amount of vaccines that they suggest giving to our kids. We're talking about collapse here. We're talking about our federal safety nets for people that are being eroded. We're talking about state-sponsored violence. We're talking about the fact that values and morals and truth-telling that we've historically assumed we share are virtually gone. There are small and large examples of things that are falling apart that we have vaguely counted on. And we're calling these collapses, examples of collapse. And then we're asking ourselves, what is our role when we're facing collapse? And when we look at our rough math, how might we best use 159 hours per month? Not even the Sunday services, 159 hours per month. Are we using the time the way we want to be? Is there a 400-pound gorilla, thank you, Philip, that's in the room that we're not noticing? Or even just some smaller animals that are running around that we're accidentally not seeing? As we reflect on the enormity of the things that are happening in the world and our sense of overwhelm and despair, it brings up questions for me. And I hope that it brings up questions for you too. Not just at UUFNN, but in our personal lives as well. How do we spend our time in a way that feels valuable, meaningful, purposeful? At UUFNN, how do our 159 hours per month directly or indirectly address the collapses that are happening all around us? Should they? How do our 159 hours per month address ICE agents rounding up our neighbors and killing people? How do our 159 hours respond to people like us living our values and being called domestic terrorists? How do our 159 hours per month handle the fact that this administration kidnapped the president of Venezuela and is now controlling the country's oil reserves in offshore accounts where they are accountable to virtually no one? How do our 159 hours help us truly grow together in love, faith, justice, and joy? And is there anything we'd like to change as we examine it with intention? Now, I'm not actually suggesting that we change anything, but I just want you to play with me here. What if for 1 month, we spend 159 hours on one focused thing? Better yet, what could we accomplish if we, for 1 month, spent 159 hours of volunteer time, plus 360 hours of worship time, all moving in one direction together? What magic would happen with 519 hours of all these beautiful, courageous, and dedicated people committed to love? And it might seem that I'm hinting towards doing something differently, but I am genuinely just lifting up these questions with curiosity. And I hope that your questions and my questions will help us consider together things that we might not be able to do or imagine alone. There's also an elephant in the room. It's different from the gorilla, which is the things that we don't notice. The elephants are the things that we know are there, but we feel uncomfortable talking about them. One elephant that's in the room is that we are struggling to find volunteers for important leadership roles. We still don't have a president-elect. Another is that people have named that they feel spread thin, possibly a bit burned out. So what questions can we ask ourselves that help us zoom out and just see the picture differently? As we look in with more intentionality, we're like birds flying over, and we look in with more intentionality around the things we might be missing, Can we ask ourselves any questions about why we're struggling to find volunteers for critical roles? Or even, how do we determine what is still critical? A podcast I listened to recently noted that incoming generations, younger people, are asking themselves what givens were handed down to them that are no longer a given. What assumptions have we made that are no longer relevant when we spend a bit of time questioning them? How might we loosen the stranglehold of our givens? And so after the service today, as you continue your mingling, visiting the different tables that are set up, I invite you to share your reflections with each other. Share your wonderings, explore, notice, get curious. And then write down your learnings and leave notes for us, your leadership, so that we can reflect with you. I want us to practice together, examining our community with new perspectives and inviting each other with love as one team, inviting each other to see the gorillas and the elephants with loving curiosity. This is how the world changes, Maria Popova says. This is how the world changes. We loosen the strangleholds of our givens, bend and stretch our minds to imagine what was once unimaginable, to test our theories against reality, and emerge with vision expanded into new dimensions of truth. We're going to sing together. It's number 1028, Fire of Commitment. Will you rise in body or spirit? We're going to spend some time in stillness together. Some people might call that prayer or meditation. But what I was feeling today, and you might be feeling this, is that sometimes there are just no right words to address the enormity of the grief and anger and sadness and uncertainty that we feel. And this week has felt like one of those weeks. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to gather in songful prayer, and we're going to let our choir sing our prayer for us, and we'll let the words and the songs of prayer music seep into our bones this morning. And before we invite them in to offer our musical prayer, I just want to lift up some of the people in our community that are on our hearts this morning so that we can hold them in our hearts while we soak up some prayer. You know that you are truly loved when there are multiple prayer cards for you. And that is our dear Steffi Michaels. We are so glad that Steffi is out of the hospital and rehab. And also, Steffi needs all your prayers and love and hugs and care and all of that. So we send you our love, Steffi. And we're so glad that you're with us today. I want to lift up Nancy Thompson, who's dealing with health issues. You'll hold her on your heart. And also our dear Wally Lewis. Wally Lewis is going to be traveling to Phoenix, Arizona for evaluation of the health challenges that he's been going through. And so we send him love as he travels to Arizona. Hope that the evaluation brings back some good answers. And also, I invite you to wish him a happy birthday, 77, next Saturday. So if you feel like sending him a card, I'm sure he would appreciate it. We also lift up Joyce Fisher. She is able to receive visitors while she is at Advanced Healthcare on Kinsley, and she will be moving to Morning Star Assisted Living soon. So send your love that direction, and also if you'd like to visit, please do. I also want to lift up Pat Francis' 70th birthday. Yay! And also we celebrate with Kevin Murphy. Kevin says that he is over the moon because 5 poems were accepted by the Pennsylvania Literary Journal. And 3 others by the Ninth Heaven Literary Journal. Kevin says that he is in 7th heaven and soon to be in 9th heaven. Those are our community members. There's also lots on your heart, I'm sure. And there's been lots in the world that we are all just holding in our bodies. And so as we listen to this music, I'm going to invite you to let some of what you're holding in your body just loosen a little bit. Because we cannot keep all of the stress and anger and everything stuck in our bodies. We have got to release it in some way. As we listen to this music this morning, thank you, choir, for holding us in prayer. And I will just lift up Renee Nicole Good and all the others who have been harmed by ICE. We hold them in our hearts. And we hold this whole country and the whole world in our hearts today. Let us be in prayerful, musical release this morning together.
Aren't they great? Well, this is the time of our service where we offer our bounties to each other to continue the positive and far-reaching outreach to our fellowship and the greater community. So a basket will be passed, and those of you on Zoom, you follow instructions on your screen. You can also mail a check to the office, or better yet, sign up for automatic giving. One of the many things I love about our fellowship is that each month we choose a nonprofit to share our plate with, and this month we'll be donating to the Great Basin Chaplain Corps. The Chaplain Corps is a non-denominational, non-proselytizing group of volunteers that serve those in crisis through intervention, grief support, professional spiritual care when requested to community members of all faith or no faith at all during the worst days of their lives. They help with suicide prevention through recovery, education, mental health, first aid, and connecting those in crisis to community services. They currently have 60 chaplains, with 5 more coming on soon, but they really need 125 to 150 more to meet the community needs. So will the ushers please come forward? Well, oh, they're still gathering money? Okay. So please join us as we bless our offerings to the work of this fellowship, which is helping more people grow in love, faith, justice, and joy. We dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings. Thank you, Sophie. Well, as pointed out by Reverend Kristen, we're a very busy congregation. And so we have a couple of announcements. One is for those of you who are visiting and haven't yet got roped into a committee, you want to learn more about Unitarian Universalists and UUFNN. There's a chosen faith discussion that'll start in the library just outside the doors to the right at 11:45. Close, somewhere around there. Gaia will be doing that with her hand up back. Thank you, Gaia, for doing that. Also, we have a Leadership Development Committee reception on the January 25th at noon in the Star King Room. So this committee will talk about leadership in general and positions open for the coming year. This all ties into what we discussed today. It's an exciting opportunity to carry forward some of the excitement from today's service and move into new possible ways of serving in the new year. So please join, even if you're just slightly interested. Just show up and find out what's happening. The next social justice movie is going to be the February 6th at 5:30 in the Star King Room in the other building. 37 people turned out to learn more about our Carter Center work. So let's educate ourselves and build momentum for that by gathering and viewing All in the Fight for Democracy, where Stacey Abrams, if you don't know who Stacey Abrams is, she ran for governor of Georgia and is an expert on elections. Anyway, she collaborated with the directors of this movie about election interference, and food will be provided. So now throughout January, you may have noticed some changes around here. The Building Use Committee is cleaning, purging, organizing, and beautifying our campus, but we need your help. If your group or committee uses space on this campus for storage, would you please let us know what and where? This includes in the closets, storage, file cabinets, or shelves. We want to better understand how our space is currently being used and help others better organize our limited storage space. So please mail, it's called BUC, B-U-C, Building Use Committee at uufnn.org by Friday, January 16th. That's next Friday. So you got to get on it, or come to the building use table today after the service and let us know, and we'll be moving forward. So now, if you would all stand, and what are we going to sing? Oh, Fire of Commitment, number.
It's 128 for all that is our life.
So,
It's 128 for all that is our life. Please rise in body and spirit and sing with us.
and stay standing.
After the service, I hope you stay and involve yourself in any of the many opportunities that you have, or come and look at all these tables and here and in the gathering space. And usually on the second Sunday and the fourth Sunday of the month, we do what we call What Now? Or you could think of it as, well, what now? This is a time when we ask each other deep questions about who we are called to be in these times. We are combining these things today. So if you want to stay and have conversations with each other, we have some questions you might ask. Or as you're floating around the tables, you might also ask each other these questions. I'm going to read them to you because they're important, okay? And they're going to be on the screen also. What givens have we assumed as we do our work in the congregation? What questions are you asking as you zoom out on the ministries and the groups in our congregation? How is our congregation responding to the world as it is currently? And where do you feel called? I invite you into the curiosity. Will you connect with each other in ways that feel comfortable as we extinguish our chalice? May the life we lead speak for us. May the life we lead speak for us. May we meet this moment with courage, with community, and with love. Go forth, mingle with curiosity.
Forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot, and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne, and surely you will buy your cup, and surely I'll buy mine. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. We two've paddled in the stream from morning sun till night. The seas between us roared and swelled since the days of old lang syne. Old lang syne, my dear, old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne.